If you're not listening to the Smoke World podcast, you're wasting your time, you mortal.
What's up, folks? Welcome to another episode of Smoke World. I'm your host, Stone. So go grab that stick, go grab a glass, whatever you're drinking. Let's sit back and have a conversation. You can follow me on Instagram at SmokeWorld50. Again, I tell you this every time. We have the same discussion. Send those emails into SmokeWorld50@gmail.com. Today, I had the pleasure of sitting down with Austin, who is the CFO of Delaware CBD, a hemp company. He's going to sit down and explain to us, folks, some of those elements that you're having and issues. We all have the same question. Can we take this product? Is it safe? Will we lose our job? But nonetheless, without further ado, Brother Austin, what's up, bro?
Hey, how you doing, Stone? How you doing, man?
Oh, lovely, lovely. So, okay, now you're the CFO of Delaware CBD. We're not going to start there. We're going to start, and let's go to the beginning. How did you get involved in all this? Where are you from, and how did this even become a story to be told?
I was born in Cleveland. We moved down to Delaware when I was 11, 12 years old, maybe. Been here ever since. Delaware's kind of a black hole. I'm sure you kind of know that. You can't get out once you're here. And, you know, just growing up, I was always around people smoking. Obviously, curiosity was kind of what is this plant? What is it? Did a lot of research on it in high school and in my first 2 years of college. And, you know, fast forward a little bit of time, and I had the opportunity to get into the industry under the 2018 Farm Bill, which made hemp a legal product in the United States, which that paved the way for companies like mine to come out and show the healing benefits of hemp, which is commonly associated with marijuana. But they're two pretty different substances in their core. So that's how it all got started. They passed the bill. A friend of mine and my business partner Vince kind of chatted about what we wanted to do, made a decision, and then have been pursuing it ever since.
So how has things been going now? Because I know each state, you know, Delaware is kind of conservative as far as where they're at with the hemp and the whole concept of the plant. Pennsylvania, New Jersey, I've seen they legalize some things in recreational. We're going to move a little slow here in Delaware. So what are some of the challenges with dealing with Delaware? Why do you think that we're in the place where we're at with it? And I don't know if you can answer that now, but I'm going to let you try.
Yeah, I can try. Delaware doesn't really have any clear-cut laws, and I think that's what makes it a little bit difficult, especially for hemp companies like mine. You know, we have the authority under the federal guidelines to operate as long as everything's under 3% THC. Delaware doesn't really have its own set rules and regulations for people that are creating products like myself. So, you know, you look at some other states, obviously out west, it's a lot more expansive. We look at places like New Jersey, who just did recreational marijuana for adult use. You know, that's awesome in my opinion. Delaware's just kind of always been the state that tags along to what everyone else is doing. We were really only first in signing a piece of paper. That was the last time we were first in about everything.
That's true. I have to agree with that. Now, let's get into that. You mentioned the THC. We hear that term. A lot of folks might not understand what that means. And you have products, you have gummies, you have some other different things that you have that assist folks, like, again, maybe chemo, anxiety.
Right.
So maybe you could give it a little breakdown, because again, a lot of times we hear these terms, but folks really don't know what it means. and don't understand it. Can you give us a little breakdown on that?
Absolutely. So we'll start at the base. Cannabis is the broad term here. Cannabis contains both hemp and marijuana. Hemp, industrial hemp, which is what I deal in, contains very little to no THC. THC is the psychoactive compound that gives users the feeling of being high. That's the intoxicating compound, THC. The majority of the products that I produce have 0% THC. There's a world of medicinal benefit that the cannabis plant can provide without changing your mindset. Now, don't get me wrong. I think that there is a much greater medical use with the compound THC, but that's not legal yet federally. So we're gonna really focus in on just working with hemp and the CBD component. Hemp creates CBD and a variety of other cannabinoids. Cannabinoids are what your body takes in from the use of my products. And depending on your ailments will depend on what these things can do for you, right? So CBD can help with a lot of inflammation. It helps with a lot of nerve pain. So I have a lot of people, a lot of clients that are either cancer patients or, have beaten cancer, but, they're still in pain in some capacities. And they don't want to take the pharmaceuticals, the over-the-counter medications. A lot of people use my products to get off of their painkillers that they're prescribed, a lot of their depression medication that they're prescribed, a lot of things that will make you maybe feel a little adverse to what you want to feel. CBD is a way to combat the ailments you have a little bit more holistically, a little bit more naturally.
Okay. So with that being the case, as I mentioned in my intro, we have individuals who may work certain jobs that this may be a helpful product, but they may be concerned that the hemp or there may be something when you talk about piss tests.
Right.
So give us a little breakdown on, I guess, the chemistry of that. I mean, would this be a product that could be legally taken with those individuals who work certain positions and certain jobs?
So, in my experience, and this is really all I can say, I'm not any sort of professional when it comes to urinalysis testing, and there's different kinds of tests. The products that I make, the majority of them are 0% THC. When you take a drug test, most of the time, they're looking for that compound, right, in your body, in your blood. If that's the case and that's what they're taking, if that's what they're testing for, then my products would be fine for you to use. I do have people that do get tested regularly for their jobs. They take my 0% THC Delaware Diamonds gummies, and I've never heard anyone having any issues. Now, there are certain urinalysis tests that do cannabinoid testing. So those are a little bit deeper of a test. In that instance, then my product would not be feasible because I do have cannabinoids in my product. They're just non-psychoactive. So it really depends on the test, but I have people that work for the federal government. I have people that work for the state that take my products. One of the lounge members, works at a hospital, takes the product without any issues. It's a 0% THC. That's what the majority of people are looking for. And if that's the case, then yes, as long as you get a 0% THC product in you, you should be just fine.
Are you looking for a new platform to connect with other cigar smokers consumers, lounges, and brands while escaping tobacco-related rules of other social media platforms. Then look no further. Stogie Lives, the new social media platform for cigar lovers created by a female. So come join Stogie Lives, STOGIELIVES.com, where every cigar lover has a place to connect.
Okay. I figure most people, when it comes to the drug testing, they don't know which test they're going to get. So that's going to be, I guess, a decision they would have to make.
Right.
Because I don't think they would say, okay, hey, I'm going to get this particular, what type of drug test I'm going to get? This is going to be a drug test, sir. You're going to piss in this cup, and we're going to test your blood, and we're going to test your urine. So with that being the case, so why don't you describe some of your products?
Yeah, so we have Delaware CBD makes the Delaware Diamonds gummy. It's a 50 milligram gummy. It's made with isolate, so it is only the cannabinoid CBD, 0% THC. Super, super delicious. Everyone loves them. We are getting into making some pet treats. So for your little pups, they can get that anxiety relief instead of using something a little bit more serious. But I also have a bakery, and that bakery pumps out. We can do cupcakes, cookies, brownies, cheesecakes, cake pops. You want your wedding cake, your birthday cake infused with CBD. We can do all that.
Okay. Now you mentioned the percentage when it comes to. Now, can you give a little? I'm not familiar with the percentage when you broke. I think you said 50%. So give us. You can explain to the people what is that when you talk about percentages.
So I think what you're saying is the milligrams. So the 50 milligram gummy. Everything when it comes to my industry is broken down by milligrams.
Okay.
And roughly speaking, 10 to 15 milligrams is what's considered a serving. So for different ailments, you may need different milligrams and different dosage. Some people need maybe just 10 or 15 milligrams to kind of take away some of the minor pain they're having. For other people, the pain level is a little bit more, so they need to take in the upwards of 50, maybe 100 milligrams to help alleviate some of that pain. It varies from product to product. It should never vary in the same product. So my product is 50 milligrams per gummy, and that's what it is every single time. We have it all lab tested. The biggest thing I can tell anyone is make sure whatever product you are having is lab tested, and make sure that it is properly dosed for you. And a lot of people don't know what that is. So like I said, a rule of thumb is the typical everyday user only needs 15 to 25 milligrams of CBD to take care of any sort of chronic pain, any sort of muscle stiffness. I have people that are bodybuilders and trainers that take it for their muscle recovery, really good for inflammation and such. Obviously that's going to vary, but typically speaking, I would say start off with 15, 25 milligrams and work your way up or down.
Gotcha. Now, for a person who's beginning this particular product, are there any residual or any type of effects? Or do you hear anybody say, I took one of these gummies and I felt a little different. I felt a little special. And how long does it take for this product to really start to assist and help with some of the elements in the body? It's not an overnight process.
Correct. So hemp is not necessarily your spot fix Band-Aid solution. It's not going to be as effective as that ibuprofen or that Advil or Aleve that you're taking on the first dose. You can't say, oh, well, I take one Aleve and I get relief, and then I take one CBD and I don't. CBD is something that you really want to build into your lifestyle. You want to build it into a daily or every other day type of routine. And that's because your body has what's called an endocannabinoid system. Everybody has it. You don't have to do anything special to own one, right? what it is it works in sync with your nervous system. And when you take in cannabinoids, your body reacts differently to different cannabinoids. So with CBD, you take it your first couple days, weeks, and what it does is it builds up into your system. And your endocannabinoid system then tells your body to produce different compounds to help alleviate that pain. That CBD kind of triggers it, right? So it's not going to be your overnight spot fix. I would say anything that you're trying to do, take 2 weeks. Stop taking that ibuprofen, that Aleve, that Bayer, whatever you're taking, and let your body kind of get to a ground zero, and then start taking the CBD. And over the span of that 2-week period that you're taking the CBD, you'll notice more and more that you're getting the relief that you were once getting without doing the harm to your liver and taking the pills and the over-the-counter.
Okay, good stuff. But now, we've been talking about this product. Now, where can we find this product?
So we are in the process of launching our website, delcbd.com. You'll always be able to see what I'm up to there. You can always check our Instagram and our Facebook at First State CBD for both of those. And then there's some shops in the area that have them. There's my bakery up north. A couple different places throughout the state will carry them. And if you want them in a place that is convenient to you that they may not be, reach out to that shop owner or reach out to me, and I can reach out to that shop owner. And we can talk to them about having the product there for you routinely, because that's the biggest thing, is having access.
Absolutely. Now, we're going to switch gears a little bit. Brother Austin's a cigar smoker like me, Brother the Leaf. Now, how long have you been smoking cigars, Austin? Because, Austin's got that Opus X flavor. And people who listen to Smoke World, I love that flavor, but I don't have the price point in my pockets to handle that business. So, how long have you been smoking, bro?
I've been smoking cigars, since I can remember. It's always been a family thing. My grandpa always had them. Uncles always had them. Any real male role model I've ever had in my life always had a cigar. So I always smoked them. I guess 18 is when legally I can say I started smoking cigars. A lot more so as I've gotten older. You appreciate the whole entire cigar culture, what it means, taking that step back. Maybe you're walking the dog, maybe you got a drive in front of you. But always smoke cigars. They're delicious.
Now, folks, he said when he was younger, he's only like 23 years old right now.
Hey.
Like he's been smoking 25 years. But what you have a go-to? I see, I've seen your purchases. You've been posting some pictures, brother. I'm kind of envy of. I want to be in that lane. I'm waiting to get in that lane, brother.
Listen, if we're talking dream cigars, obviously I love my Opus. I think we all here know that.
Yes.
Fuente as a brand is probably my go-to brand.
Okay.
But I love to smoke something different every day.
Gotcha.
And today I'm smoking the punch that just came out. I forget what the name. What?
Chop Suey.
Chop Suey. That's right.
Okay,
the Chop
Suey.
Okay,
I'm glad you mentioned that. What is your opinion so far on that cigar? It's a very inexpensive cigar.
This is...
Besides the inexpensive part.
I literally lit this because I knew I was going to talk to you, and this is the Stone Budget.
Whoa.
This is the Smoke World Budget Buster right here.
Exclusive.
No, this is actually a pretty good cigar. Barring price, I would say that it's been pretty consistent so far. Good body to it. Definitely like a medium plus.
Would you get it again?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. I'm actually probably going to buy 10 of them because this is a good cigar that...
everything smoke.
It's exactly it. Maybe maybe you don't know how much time you really do have. You toss it in. If you have to get rid of it halfway through, you only spend $650. You know what I'm saying?
You're not mad about
That's
that.
it. That's
Not
it.
mad about that. Well, I appreciate it, man. Like I said, anything that that we didn't go over, that we maybe didn't discuss, that you want to mention about the product. Again, you kind of told us how we can find you and your company. So, again, you say you was on Instagram? Because you went past that kind of fast. Give us that handle again.
First State CBD for both Instagram and Facebook. And then that's dellscbd.com if you want to check out our products and support us. And I think really the biggest thing that I have to say to anyone is the conception and the notion that hemp is marijuana and it's bad, and that's got to change. That whole entire stigma has to change, because hemp can do so many great things because it's not psychoactive, and it really doesn't need to be seen as that. You really got to put hemp on the level of your ibuprofens, your over-the-counter pain meds, that you do have to watch, how much you take and who you give it to. But it's not the reefer that everyone thinks, you know what I'm saying? Exactly it. This didn't show up in a mason jar lid and 4 fingers in the bag, you know what I'm saying? This is, you can smoke it all the same, but it's not going to get you all crazy in the head. And that's the biggest thing is, there's a lot, people need to open their eyes to that and just try it out. And maybe if it's not for you, that's fine. But don't judge someone for using it just because you think it's a voodoo type of thing. It's
Actually, I do have one final question. In your opinion, what do you think hemp is going to be maybe the next 5 to 10 years across the board?
I mean, there's a big space for hemp, and in my honest opinion, hemp is going to be the stable factor, that medical factor, for a lot of people, where not everybody wants to get the head changed like marijuana does. I mean, obviously, I'm sure marijuana is going to be legal in all 50 here shortly. Hemp, I think, has the power to be something that a day-to-day user can take. It's safe. I give it to my 5.5-year-old with autism to help him with his ailments, and it's one of those things that you just I think people can start to rely on it. I think it's going to be a lot more opened up in the next 5 years. I think it's going to be something that can help get rid of plastic. It's going to help a lot of our paper issues. We're not going to chop so many trees down. And I think hemp is going to start to find its way into a lot of different day-to-day uses, instead of just looking at it like it's weed or something like that, Yeah.
All right, well, appreciate it, Austin. Appreciate you sitting down with us on Smoke World. Well, look, folks, it's that time. We got to go smoke. We got to do what we do best. Again, follow me on Instagram at SmokeWorld50. Email SmokeWorld50@gmail.com. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, to the station. Check it out. Appreciate you listening, and I will check you out on the other side, folks. Peace.